Okay, this is Aaron again with Exalted Lamb 1, and I'm doing another video. I didn't think I would do one again because we were so close, but I just kept getting confirmation after confirmation of this time period. It's pretty incredible what the Lord's showing me, what He's been leading me to. I just can't not show you this stuff and what He's been showing me. So, and it doesn't come without its trials and tribulations as well, because when I posted, I put up a post on when Dorian was basically got to the almost to the Cat 6. Well, there's no such thing as a Cat 6, but it got up to that. If there was a Category 6, it got up to a Cat 6, and I posted how it was up to 911 millibars. Anyway, what I'm going to say here too is I'm going to say 9, and then instead of 1, I'm going to say uno, and then instead of 1 again, I'm going to say uno, and then maybe if instead of saying 1, 2, I'm going to say uno dos, because I've been getting, since I posted that, in my last phone, the operating system was removed, and then I had to go get an upgrade. And there was no upgrade. And I have an account that doesn't even have technically upgrades. Once you pay off your phone, you can get another phone, and then you pay payments till you pay it off. And that was gone. My wife had one. I didn't. My hotspot was taken off, and they didn't know why. Verizon didn't know at all what was going on. And so anyway, I think I'm being attacked by AI or something. So it was too many things that happened, and it happened as soon as I posted that. And now I'm on a new phone, and then I had all kinds of problems. I basically did this video already almost, and then it stopped. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all that anymore, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm going to be saying things that are probably a little bit differently. I don't want to, but I want to get this information out to you, and I don't want them to stop it coming out. So I'm going to have to be a little bit covert. Okay, so I'm going to have a solve for the Economist magazine's 2017 and 2019, as well as having more information on iPad Go 2 showing 9 uno uno and 9 uno dos, and another date. So, and I've talked about this being 2 days after the days of destruction. So, as far as being nuclear and all that. So I have much more support for this stuff. So let me start with my personal experience. I've had so many, I can't even put them all in. In fact, a friend of mine, Jeff, he mentioned some other stuff, and I just couldn't get it all in there. So I'm just going to use one personal experience. Otherwise, my video will be 2.5 hours long. So this one was incredible. Okay, before I get into these magazines and stuff. Okay, so this, my landlord, I rent. For a number of reasons, the Lord has wanted me and my wife to rent. We had owned at one point, and He wants us to rent until the time is up. And so I looked at my bill recently that He's just sent me the amount that I owe. And then I looked at it, and I was like, no way, because this is the amount I owe right here. And then last month, it was $39.12 as well. And I'm like, but that wasn't the whole story. The month before that, my water bill was $39. I gotta hold this just right. $39.12. I gotta try to hold the phone. Let me try this again. $39.12. Okay, so I had this was the third. This a few days ago was the third month of my water bill being $39.12. Immediately, I see $9.12 in that because I've been talking about 9 uno dos, right? And it just completely stunned me at first, and then I'm like, what are the chances of this? So give me a little bit of background. Basically every single month I've been here, which has been for about 3.5 years, no water bill has been the same, not even close. Even all of them, if you look at all of them, not one is identical. And then I had 2 in a row, the exact same dollars and cents, and then this third one was exactly the same again. And so my landlord didn't even notice it. And then I mentioned to him, he's like, what? How is that possible? And so he literally thought that I thought that something was wrong, or he gave me the same bill over and over again or something. And so he ended up texting me this copy, which is just a little part of the copy of the bill. And it shows, I'm not going to show you the rest of the bill, but it shows the same amount of water. Now, it's crazy because in not just this, but we actually, the property I rent from, this landlord, he actually owns another, it's a business, and it's linked to the same property. In fact, they have the same utilities. They share the same utilities. And so there's many people that go in and out of this other company without getting into details, and they use water. Okay, not a ton, but they use water enough, and there's a good amount of people that go in and out. And so I actually pay the utility, the water, for both my property, this property, and that business. Okay, and then that business pays the electricity, which is far more because it's a big business. And so anyway, they pay the electricity, which is great for me because I don't have to worry about how much I pay for electricity every month, and it's far less for the water than the electricity. So it works out. It's a really good deal. God's completely blown us away. We have a standalone house on an acre and a half with 17 trees, and I don't pay that much. It's a complete amazing blessing, and there's a big story behind all that, but I'm not getting into it. And so that was amazing. So I saw 9 uno dos in here, and then right here 39 is also basically it's 9 uno dos or 9 uno uno in a different way. I'm not getting into all that right now. But so then you add it to my rent, and this is what I had. This was this month's rent. This was the third time, and it's never been the same ever in 3.5 years. But this is the third time it was the same. And check this out. Do you see this? It's 12. So it's 12th of September, September 12th. If I can write here. I have my phone on a mount, and sometimes I have to hold the mount to write, so it's a little bit shaky sometimes. So it's 12th of September, September 12th, and I could not believe what I saw. Not only is a water bill that date, basically, or 9/11, 9 uno dos, right? It's also right here, and that was crazy. So looking back on my rent and water bill together combined in June, there's an example. Okay, it's just whatever it is, right? You add them both together, and then basically then the first month, I didn't suspect anything, didn't see anything. And in fact, at that point in July, I didn't know. I was looking at other dates and everything, and I didn't even pay attention to it. And then this a month ago, it came up, and I still didn't pay attention to it. But I'm like, well, that's odd. It's the same one. So I kind of wrote it out as very odd. I don't really believe in coincidence, but I thought, yes, maybe it's possible that we could have the same exact water 2 months in a row. And then look at this. Look at this down here. When I looked at this recently, look at the balance here. Oops, I didn't mean to write that. But just look, I'm just circling the balance here. So look, 9 uno dos, and then the 2-9 is backwards 9 uno uno, because you break the 2 into 1 1. So it's both. It's 9 uno uno and then 9 uno dos. What I've been saying about both dates in my last video. And it's mind-blowing. Okay, so again, I look at this last one that just went through a couple days ago, and then look what's underneath it. Look at the balance right there before I put in my last few checks that I've got, and then it's 11117. So that is basically 111. 1 plus 7 is 8. I can't write here. Anyway. And then, the other way is 8111, and that's the master code I've been talking about, okay? And then, so that 8 plus 1 is 9, and then uno, uno. And there we go again. It's right there. It's in both. I mean, that's the master code, 8111. And that makes all these other codes. It makes 236, 923, the 11/8 attack days, 9/11. I mean, everything. It's crazy. And there it is. And that was, if you think about the possibilities of this and everything I said about the water and everything, and again, my landlord had no idea how that happened. He's kind of dumbfounded by it. Wait till I tell him at some point what this all means. He's going to be kind of blown away. But I don't feel led to do that right now. So now let me get into The Economist magazine, 2017. Okay, so I remember when this came out, and I was really looking at it, because I knew it basically meant the world is screwed. Basically, the world is done, and I just didn't know when it was. I thought it could be in 2017, but it basically told me by just my insights of everything, and the insights of eschatology and what the elites are doing and everything. It's basically saying that these are trump cards. Okay, these are trump cards right here. All these are trump cards. And I'm going to talk about that in a second, okay? And so I knew, without really knowing the details of what these were exactly, I knew they were tarot cards, but I knew that this was not good, okay? And then we saw there's the death card right here, okay? And we see there's a nuclear explosion there. Okay, so let me get into this. So I'm gonna just briefly explain these cards. There's so much going in them, but I'm gonna briefly explain them real quick as far as what I see. Okay, so right here, the Tower card, this guy right here, is basically the destroying of the establishment or the towers of communism / socialism and Christianity. And that was in a letter from Albert Pike to Manzini about Third World War, basically bringing in the light of Lucifer, the pure light of Lucifer, destroying both factions of secularism and Christianity. And so this lightning bolt that comes down is the Antichrist. Again, that's Barak Ubama in Hebrew, is lightning falling from heaven. And then you see right here, this thing right here is an upside down pyramid. Okay, that's an upside down pyramid. And guess what? The top of the pyramid is the capstone, and that's kind of shaped somewhat like a lightning bolt, and he is the capstone. And these other stones right here, there's 7 of them. And it says in Revelation it would be 7 heads and 10 horns. So right here you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. They look like fire, and they may be as well, but they're 10 horns right here. And he's the ruler of them all, this lightning bolt. And in a sense, this upside down pyramid right here, which will be the rule, he'll be the capstone of, the New World Order, basically. Okay, so then right here we have and so in a sense, that's what I'm, showing you here. So we have this is the judgment card, and this just means that Trump is presiding over the United States when judgment happens. Some people think he's the Antichrist, not even close. Barack Obama hits everything about the Antichrist, and Trump doesn't hit most of it. Okay, he's presiding over the United States when judgment comes. Okay, and he's the ruler at the time over the United States. Okay, but judgment's coming to the United States. And in this world card, these are the 3 basically foundations that are ruling this world right now. This one is Washington, D.C., which is the military-industrial complex that Eisenhower talked about. This is the financial capital, which is London. And then this is the spiritual capital again, this is all evil. Spiritual capital it's the spiritual capital, which is the Vatican or Rome, basically. And all 3 cities, in a sense, British Columbia, London, and Rome, they're all their own countries, basically. They're completely sovereign countries. Most people don't know that. The British Columbia is completely sovereign, and these are all. And for example, the Pope is the king of Rome. Okay, and he's subject to nobody. And so these 3 basically, and it shows all these different media and stuff and art and everything. They control all this, and that's what this basically says. And then we have the Hermit. It's the guidance of the dark hermit. That's in all kinds of occultic things. And then you see these people protesting, and they're yellow. And it just so happens, came out in 2017, but in 2018, we had the Yellow Vest protests. And they were protesting stuff like TTIP, which is shown right here, things like that. They were protesting. And it just so happens these people are yellow, which is a hint on Yellow Vest protests that were coming a year later, after this thing came out. There's more going on here, but I won't get into all this. So the Hermit, the occultic, basically the dark leader, the spirits in the world are leading people astray into the wrong things. And it seems like it's good. Then we have the Death card right here. You have the Death figure right here. Then we have a nuclear explosion. And notice this nuclear explosion is is blue. And then you have down here blue waves. So that is substantial. Not just nuclear, it's going to be tsunami waves. You see that down here. Then this is the Antichrist bringing in, supposedly, the infinity sign, bringing in eternal life. And then there's a 3D printer here. There's a lot with the mark going on there. And this is the Wheel of Fortune, which is showing that, for example, the Antichrist, which is symbolized by the lightning bolt up here, is controlling these leaders and spinning the roulette wheel, but he ultimately controls it. There's a lightning bolt right here. And then right here is the star card. And this is showing stars, but there's children's faces in it, in each one. And I believe this is Nibiru with 2 tails here. And then this planet here on the bottom, which I can't show you right there, so right here, is a red planet with craters, and it's going to be coming around at this time. In fact, I'm going to have a link in the description box of a lady that does a YouTube channel called The Final Days. If you never checked her out, check it out. She got this latest video that literally shows this red planet with massive craters that they try to block with the geoengineering spraying that they're doing all over everywhere, basically, for a number of different reasons. But she shows a rotating planet, and many other things. The evidence that she shows is pretty phenomenal. So I definitely recommend you checking out that link in the description box I'm going to put on there. Probably by tomorrow, hopefully. Anyway, so then basically going a little bit forward, I basically studied this a little bit to see what these cards were, what they do and everything. And then these are all called they are technically called arcana cards, tarot cards, but they're like a trump card. Like you'd have a trump card when you're playing cards or something. And they're all in order, and they all have a number. So right here, the Fool right here is number 0. Kind of like when sometimes you're playing with jokers, a deck of cards, and they might be worth 0, they might be worth more, who knows. But that starts with 0. The Magician, which is one of the cards that's on that Economist magazine, is number 1, and it goes through the list here. And then the last one, the World, down here, that's number 21. Okay, so what I did was, and I just this started coming together for me. So what I did was I basically, oh, by the way, I'm going to say that arcana is what it's called. It means a secret or a mystery. So they're holding a secret or a mystery about what's coming in these cards, and these tarot cards coming up. And I'm going to show you what the mystery is. So the Magician, again, is number 1, and then you have all those in between. And then the World card is number 21. So we just number those cards because they're in an evil numerology. And again, numerology itself is not evil. God created numbers, mathematics, and everything, and God has meanings for all the words. As in, many people have done books on it about the numerology of the Bible. You can look all that stuff up. It's valid. It's real. So for you wingnuts out there that think that you're so religious you can't see the goodness of numbers, and you think that if you're using numbers then it's evil, which is completely ridiculous. That means the enemy has hijacked your thinking, and you believe something that's not correct. Okay, the enemy numbers are neither good or bad until they're used for good or bad, or the heart behind them. And so God intended numbers for good and for everything. I mean, numbers are in everything. The enemy uses occultic numbers and symbols for his occultic practices and for divination and all kinds of stuff. And by the way, I exercise and do Ephesians 5:11, which is not having anything to do with darkness, but rather exposing it. So read that if you haven't, and get to know what the Bible actually says about it. So I'm exposing the darkness. Okay, so you take each one of these cards and you put the actual number of the card that's in order, that it is in order, and you put it to the card. Well, before I show you that, notice that the Judgment card right here, okay, is tilted, and the Star card is tilted as well. Okay, that's a big clue right here. And so there'll be a clue as to if I'm doing this right in these tilted cards. And there's another message in these tilted cards as well. Oh, shoot. Okay, my mount fell. Okay, anyway. So there's a clue in here. All right, so now let's number the cards. Okay, so these are the correct numbers in the order of these cards. All right, and then as you notice, in the tilted cards, guess what's right there? 2017. Okay, this is a clue. This is what you call a primer, or a type of primer in a code to show you're doing the right thing. And so they put in this encoding that they've done in showing this message, a primer of showing that these tilted cards are actually show 2017. And this is about the year 2017 cover. Okay, it's really about 2019, but they put as the total, the world in 2017 is the title. So there's your clue that I'm doing this right. The tilted cards add up to 2017. Okay, so let's keep going. So let's start with the top and let's go backwards like they would go backwards. I don't go backwards, but they go backwards. An adept disciple in Crowleyan magic, Aleister Crowley, the Order of Thelema, and all these kind of really psycho Luciferian worshippers in different groups and things. They follow their backwards stuff, walking backwards, which Michael Jackson did. I mean, riding backwards, talking backwards, messages backwards and upside down, or both, one or the other or both. Okay, so we're going to go backwards from this one right here, from this 9 right here. Oop. Come on here. There we go. From this 9 here. So let's go backwards. So we go 9, 1, 2, 0, 2, 6, 1 is backwards completely. Well, right away, knowing what I know, I see it right away, and I know what's going on here. So 9, 12, or 9, 1, 2, or uno, dos, whatever. I'm probably going to stop saying that. Anyway, is the date, but we can just easily switch the 02 there to 20, and then we still have 61. Well, that's upside down. That's upside down, basically, and backwards. So you keep 9, 12, and 20, and you do the 61 upside down and backwards, and you get 9 Uno Dos 2019. Isn't that crazy? It's right here in front of your face. Okay, then I did the next row. Okay, and again, we'll start from right to left from the 17. So 17 and 10 and 1 and 3. So I immediately, by looking at these numbers, just looking at them, I immediately knew what was going on here as well, because I know the code already. And I know what they're trying to do. Fortunately, I was given the code 4 years ago of 923, and then about 9 months ago, the Lord gave me a dream where he said 923 is 623. And then from there, I got to 1118 or 118, and then got to what 911 really is, a 912. Okay, man, I don't think I'm going to do this encoded thing because I'm going to forget. So I'm just going to go all the way out. And if hopefully this can get to you guys. So 1 plus 7 plus 1 is 9, and then there's no 0. They don't count that. And then 1 plus 13 is 14. So we have 914. So basically what this is showing here between both sets of cards from top and bottom, and I've looked at them all kinds of ways, and I'm confident this is what it's showing, is 912 and 914 2019. Okay, and it's confirming what I've said and what I've seen, what I've shown in iPad Go 2, what I've shown in the Georgia Guidestones, what I've shown in other things that are in the stock market. I've broken down when the stock market's down, the numbers that show these, 911 and 912 and things like that. It's just really crazy. Okay, moving on to the next thing here. Then in 2019, I couldn't figure out 2018 yet. I was kind of hot on the trail, but I couldn't wait any longer and wait to put this video out. I think pretty soon I could actually have it cracked as well, based on what I know already. Because it's basically going to say a similar thing. I almost pretty much guarantee it. Okay, so the Economist magazine came out for 2019 cover, and it was black, just like this. And I immediately knew, I could immediately read the signaling that it meant blackout. It meant that's it. That's when the chaos is coming. Blackout. Okay, I knew what it meant for sure. And then later they came out with this cover. And this is the 33rd cover of these kind of covers that they put out. And 33rd degree Mason is what they're into 33rd degree. Okay, so it's their 33rd cover. And 2019, like I've already shared many times in my videos, is a really ominous year, and it's got a lot of symbolism in the numbers for judgment and chaos and all that kind of stuff on God's side and on the devil's side, the enemy side. Okay, so as you look at this, I'm not going to interpret most of these images here, except to say a few things. Like each image that has writing, it's backwards. Each writing, for example, when you have Vladimir Putin's head right here, and backwards it says Putin's pipeline, and then you have right here you have this bulldog, and it says Britain beyond Brexit, and then that's 3 B's and P. That means something. I'm gonna get into all that right now, but there's a larger message of the attack day in this magazine, and there's some other things as well. There's a lot here. And then you have, Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man right here, with his arms and stuff. That's very famous. Down here, right below my dot, is the Mona Lisa, but it says Mona Angelina. So it's Angelina Jolie's face is kind of put over Mona Lisa's face. And that is very reminiscent of me talking about the Asian girl with the white flag in iPad Go 2. She has a tiger tattoo on her back, or tiger on her back. Well, that's Angelina Jolie. She actually has a tiger tattoo on her back, but the girl in the iPad Go 2 has a tiger on her back, on her coat or whatever. And so I think that might come out to some point, but that's tying these together. And there's something with the Mona Lisa as well, and I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm trying to decode that as well. But there's actually numbers on the Mona Lisa. You can look at it yourself. If you first just turn the Mona Lisa backwards, or flip it sideways, basically, and you'll see one number for sure, maybe several numbers. Anyway, I'm not going to get into all that, but this thing points to that. You have, for example, right here, the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It's showing that the apocalypse will start in 2019. Many other things. But I'm going to show you the main key to solving this whole thing, this 2019 cover, and that is doing the mirror of this. okay, and including it in the whole picture. It's the whole picture. This is the whole picture. Let me go back here for a second. So the thing that really kicked it off for me is that things are backwards, and I've been talking about a mirror lately. I've been talking about the mirror dates, the mirror, and how they're into, for example, as above, so below. So that'd be up and down, top and bottom, but they do it sideways as well. And they mirror this, or they do it backwards. They do things backwards, like I mentioned. And if you put a mirror to the stuff written backwards, you can see it forwards. Or if you're able to flip it on a computer or something. But in the past, they would use a mirror, and they would do secret messages to each other, and they would do it backwards, and they'd use a mirror, and they'd be able to tell. And they make it kind of complicated to see backwards. And then when they did, you could see the mirror, you could see it forwards. Anyway, that was something that was done in the past. Anyway, so the mirror is key, and a mirror version of that same reality is key to see the truth. Okay, and I notice right here, to kind of guide me that even more, see this elephant right here? He's only half of an elephant. And over here on this side, okay, there's complete images. There's no halves of anything. They're all complete. But right here, there's some stuff going on right here, and then there's a half of an elephant. And it told me that there's more there. There's more there, okay? And so instead of some people might just flip this image, and I'm sure people have. They just flip this image, and they don't understand the whole thing. When you start understanding how these evil people think, and the Lord's been guiding me with how they think and how they construct things, then you can start reading what they say. And then I've been given spiritual eyes as well to see things in different ways. So, but the key is not to flip this image, is to add the flipped image to this image. And right away, I don't know if you see it, but look right in the center, and you can see Molech. And it's basically a cow god, and it's right in the center. The twos are the horns. These two things are the eyes right here. Right here, these two things are the eyes. This is like a bull nose right here. Anyway, I'm going to show you it more, but this is Molech right here. There's so much in this, it's crazy. But I want to draw your attention right now to the backwards 2019. Now look at the backwards 2019. It's going to flip for you. Boop. Flip back. See? This is what they're really showing you. This is what they're really showing you. Let me flip it back. See? Now look at the backwards 2019 again. There it is. They're showing you 9/12/2019. This is what they're really showing you. 9/12/2019 on the East Coast. This is what they're showing you. And I'm going to prove it to you more with what's coming up. But this is what they're showing you. Okay? Now let me show you some more stuff. So there's that Molech face. And again, it's two eyes right here. You got to kind of squint your eyes a little bit and kind of back up a little bit from it so you can see it from a distance. But check this out. This is an ear. Donald Trump's head is an ear. And there's an ear right here. These are eyes. This is the bull nose. See, like a wide bull nose right here. And then there's even somewhat of a mouth right here on where the shadow is. And these are the horns on the top. Okay? And you're like, yeah, right, whatever. Well, let me show you Moloch. There's Moloch right there. There's an old picture of Moloch. And what is he holding? He's holding a child. And right here is the furnace where they would sacrifice the children and throw them in the furnace to Molech. Sacrifice. This is what these sick people believe in, sacrificing children. And so the Economist magazine basically saying there's going to be a mass sacrifice of children and people in general, but children for sure, definitely, because they like complete innocent blood. These sick vampires love innocent blood. So they put Molech. When you put the image and the reverse image together, you have Molech there. But that's not it. There's more. The Lord has shown me so much more, and I'm going to get into some of it. But you can look at it yourself at some point. Like, take a screenshot of when I had them both together and take a look at it, or put those together yourself or whatever. But there's so much more. But I'm going to show you some stuff right now. So there it is right there. There's kind of a middle shot of Molech, basically. And to the left, there's this creature right here. And it's got like a smile on its face right here. And it's got little antennas, it's got eyes, and it's got antenna that stick up right here. And then it's got a chest right here. And it's a creature. And what it is, I believe, it's Apollyon. It's some spiritual version of Apollyon. And then in Revelation 9, it mentions that the pit will open up, and Apollyon and its locust armies. So he's going to look kind of like a locust king. He's going to have the antenna like a locust. He looks kind of like a locust, like a grasshopper or a locust or whatever. He's got a chest right here. You can look at it. And then over here, when you turn that image upside down, there's big eyes right here, big light eyes right here, and then it narrows down, a big head right here, and there's a mouth and stuff, and those are grays. That's a gray head. That's a alien head, upside down. Okay, and there's a nose right here, a really small slit of a nose right here. There's a mouth down here, kind of a frowned mouth right here. It's hard to see maybe on this, but if you look at it really close, you can see it. Those are grays. So when the pit opens up, the transition from one age to the next age happens, and Hawaii is destroyed because that is the gate to the pit. Hawaii is. It's in the center of the Pacific almost. Okay, and that's the gate. It's going to be exploded and blown up. And then that's when CERN's going to use their technology to open up the portal right there where it actually exists. And then they're going to come out. And it's the beast that comes from the sea, as it was described in Revelation. And then once the Antichrist is revealed and everything, then the aliens are going to, false aliens are going to come on the scene and basically claim that we are relatives of theirs. And they're going to get rid of all religion because this false evidence that they're going to have archaeological evidence of Nephilim that used to live thousands of years ago. They have all these sites and everywhere. It's crazy. It's going to be a great deception, the Bible says. Excuse me, my throat's drying out a little bit. Let me get a drink of coffee here real quick. Okay, so that's what's on. There's so much more on here, and I'm going to show you a little bit more. Okay, so right here, right where that center is of the two, on the bottom, is the pit opening up, and there is a locust right here. Here's his head. He's got two mandibles right here, and then these like dark spots right here that are like orangish, they're connecting really thin lines. And there's legs here. There's legs, and then up here is antenna right here. You see this locust head right there? It's right there. There's a thorax, an abdomen. There's several faces. There's a face here. There's a face here. There's a face here. On this whole line between both both reflections of each other, there's faces up and down here. And then when you turn this upside down, there's even more faces. There's an evil demon-looking face or a devil-looking face right below my little dot there, right below it. You can see this devilish-looking face with eyes and horns and everything. And there's more. There's an evil, like crazy looking dark face right here. There's a female looking face right here with a body. I mean, it is crazy. When you look at this, it couldn't have just happened. It's well designed, and they just blend into each other, all these faces. In fact, if you go up the whole spine of the book, or the cover, where they both come together in the middle, it's upside down and right side up. There's these massive amount of faces, and there's a lot of different kind of creatures and different kinds of animal faces blended with human faces. And I believe these are all the different kinds of spirits that are in the abyss, and they're going to be let out and to do whatever. I don't know what they're going to do, but I know some of those locusts are actually going to sting people for like 5 months, the Bible says, and they'll want to die and won't be able to. Anyway, that's what these sick people are showing. And I'm going to show this again because this is an example of that pyramid in one of those cards, the Catholic Church. Basically, this is the Catholic audience hall for those who haven't seen this yet. This is where the Pope sits when they have big meetings of people and stuff. And he sits at the mouth of the serpent. See the fangs there? Okay, the serpent eyes, the reptilian eyes. You see the scales on the head there. And then right here is the tongue on the bottom. That's the tongue. Okay, are you kidding me? And then what I want to show you, the reason I'm showing this again, it's to some of you who've seen my videos before, and some people who haven't seen this, is that on the other, where he can view, so that was your view, and where he sits, in the mouth of the serpent. He sits at the mouth of the serpent. Then where he's at, this evil Pope, where you can see the serpent again with the eyes, and he's eating the people. See, there's his mouth right here, and it's eating the people. It's sick. And then if you were to look from above the audience hall on a helicopter or something, it looks like a cut off head of a snake as well. It's serpentine everywhere. Okay, and then what I'm going to draw your attention to is where he was sitting right here in the center is this odd, gross, like, horror movie sculpture looking thing. It's got all these heads, these skulls of these demon things. You can't quite make out what they are, but I know they're kind of like demon skulls stuff here. And then you have this thing that's supposed to be Jesus, and it ain't no Jesus. Okay, man, it ain't no Jesus that I ever seen. I mean, are you kidding? It's crazy. Okay, so you got there's a dead face looking Jesus face right here, and look what's his hair does the shape of. Okay, I'm just showing you this because I'm going to show you the mirror of this image in two different ways, and similarly to what the Economist magazine did. And I'm going to show you how they do things, how they hide their things in plain sight by using mirrors and reflections and stuff. Okay, so for example, here's a close-up. Does that look edifying? Does that at all look godly to you, or is it sick? If you think that's godly at all, you need to have your head examined. I'm sorry, but it's sick. This is a serpent head with an eye right here. There's the mouth right there. I mean, it's sick. And then he looks pained. It's like there's a person's face trapped in this body. He looks like he's sad. It doesn't look like Jesus coming. It's called The Resurrection by this guy Mazzini or whatever. And it's 3 stories high. It's grotesque. It's demonic beyond belief. And right here is these bony fingers grabbing his arms. Demonic fingers grabbing his arms. What is that? I mean, those are definitely fingers and they come to a base. Okay, anyway, what I want to show you is this. Look at this reflection right here. Does that look like a blessing? If you basically put a mirror in the center, does that look like a blessing? It looks like a big serpent head. There's a face right in the chest. There's this, I mean, it's crazy. It looks like a big serpent head and arms, and that's where the arms would be the same, and they'd be coming up. So that's one way of looking at it. If you put the mirror on one side pointing the other direction, if you take the mirror in the center and point it the other direction, there's this. Okay, talk about a locust king. Okay, it looks like, see, look on that side. It's grasshopper eye, grasshopper face, whatever. In fact, there's a little bit of a Molech looking face in there too. And then a humanoid body. And then look at this. Look at this abdomen. And then look out of the abdomen. There's legs coming out of it. See that? Like a grasshopper or like a locust. See that coming back from this abdomen? Okay, I'm telling you, there is all kinds of imagery in this thing if you just play with the reflections. Okay, and use a mirror, for example, or just do this on the computer. I mean, simply. But just to show you, they hide these stuff in images that look normal. It's a bunch of predictive programming. It's a bunch of psychological conditioning to different things. So you accept it, and so it's part of you, and you don't question it. Okay, now I want to go from there in that sickness to something else that's pretty sick, which is, again, iPad Go 2. I don't like iPad Go 2, but the Lord's given me this task of deciphering it in different ways, and I can't believe some of the stuff I found even more recently here. So I'm going to share this with you. So we have George Bush here, and I revisited this scene here, my slide, for a reason. Okay, so on the first one he says, "We know the saying, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me." And obviously, we know that saying. But it says, instead of fool me twice, it says fool me. And there's a reason for that. Anytime they do a phrase a little bit differently than normal, like I've shown in many news articles, they like highlight a phrase or they do a really bizarre phrase, it's gematria. And so I immediately thought, oh, that's gematria. And I did it in my head real quick, and I'm like, no way. Could not believe it. Because fool me, this one has to do with 9/11, the first one. This has to do with 9/11, the second one, because fool me means I'm going to get fooled the second time with 9/11. But the arrogance of Americans can't get fooled again. Can't get fooled again. That's why he's saying that. He's like the arrogance of but these two phrases, fool me, that means I'm going to get fooled, or Americans going to get fooled, and then can't get fooled again. So we're so arrogant, we can't get fooled again. So when I looked at fool me and did the gematria real fast in my head, I was like, I can't believe I didn't see this before. If you look at fool me, okay? And then look at the numbers there. And like I said, I did this in my head because I'm used to just doing it. I don't see the code anymore. I just see the matrix and what it really is, especially when I'm focusing on it. Okay, so you add these these numbers up. 6 plus 1 plus 5 plus 1 plus 5 plus 1 plus 2, and M is 1 plus 3 plus 5. You get 21 and 9, or backwards, it's 9/12. What a shock! Do you notice a theme here? 9/11, 9/12, 9/11, 9/12. It's all over the place. And I'm going to show you more. Okay? Now look at this. This is a scene from iPad Go 2 as well. Okay, a lot of people think that these two towers, well, I'm going to zoom in on this a little bit more right here. Okay, so a lot of people think these two towers were the two towers that went down, and they're kind of distorted for this, this. But no, it's reminiscent of the two towers that went down because they're both, on fire and there's smoke, and it kind of similarly the way the towers were, but they're not. They're the future 9/11. They're the future 9/11, and right here, if you look right here, this is a 9 right here. Oop, my finger hit the base. That's a 9 right here. See that? It's a negative space. It's a 9. And then, of course, these two towers are 11, 9/11. There's another 9/11. And let me explain these towers to you as well. Down here, there's a break right here between this tower and that tower. And you can tell, too, because this tower right here is gray, and this tower is not. This is kind of like the color of the Statue of Liberty. Because, like, when copper rusts, it looks like this kind of turquoise color right here. Okay, so, and so this, what I think this is, because these are two separated, this is like a different landmass than this one, I think this might be London. This may be, and I've noticed some buildings in London that were, like, there's one that's this shape, and there's one that's kind of like that shape. This may be London. This may be an attack on London. I've showed that in the chalkboard before in my previous things where it shows the capital L, then T, then N in evolution, and the T, and those are London, Tokyo, and New York, I believe. So the United States is not just going to get attacked by tsunamis. I think it's going to be Tokyo and London as well. But right here, this is New York because, and this is the future 9/11, not the previous, because right here, I believe we have One World Trade Center, or One World Trade Center right here. See the point on the top and the sides here, and again, these are lit up like they're buildings, and this is a building, that's a building, and it looks like those are several buildings. And you have this one lit up. And then this, guess what this is? These are a set of breasts right here. And this is a tablet. This is the Statue of Liberty. Okay, you have breasts here. You have a tablet that the Statue of Liberty holds a tablet that says the year we were founded. July 4th, 1776, it says on there, and stuff like that. And then so this is Manhattan being hit. That's the One Freedom Tower, One World Freedom Tower, whatever it's called, blended in with the Statue of Liberty, and that's going to get hit at the same time. And then this is somewhere else because it's gray and this is a different color. It looks like it's on a different island mass here. Okay, then we have the shark here, which is the submarine as well, which is going to attack. And then right here we have, these are, let me go over here. Actually, let me go back to here. Okay, look at this shark mouth right here. This makes the shark eye. I use this pointer as the shark eye. Okay, see the shark mouth opening, right? That's the shark eye. And then these become tsunami waves right here. Because this shark down here, which is a submarine, which are Russian submarines, Akula class submarines, which are, Akula means shark. And I've explained many, many times in my videos. Okay, so we have that. Let's move on. Okay, now we have, as JK pointed out about the Akula class subs, before I even realized that was the case, when I was actually looking at this for the first time, and he had mentioned several things about this being a timeline, different things. So I credit him with coming up with a lot of the basis of what I know to this day, and then I went from there. And so I thank JK for his amazing understanding in the beginning, of even gave it credibility. And iPad Go 2, even though it's an animated, so people call it a cartoon, but it's an animated movie. Even though it's that, it's a playbook for the enemy, and it is several timelines smashed together. Each scene sometimes is over 2 to 3 years. It's massive symbolism over massive symbolism. It's multi-layered, all that stuff. So, and for example, J.K. pointed out in the past that these windows represent months, and then this is 2018. He thought this was 2017, I believe, and this was 2018. And as an example of that, in the snow it says W right here, and then U. Anyway, I can't write this pointer thing that I use with my finger on the screen doesn't really work that great sometimes when I get close to the bottom of the screen. I mean, that's a U. If you can see that U, it's a U. It says Wu, W-U. And so in the Chinese calendar, 2018 is the Wu Shu year. Okay, so what I believe is the top one is, it goes from 2017, 2018, and I believe the top begins 2019 again. But I'm going to show you this. This is crazy. So if you just take this image and turn it upside down, we have 9/11. We have 9/11. 911. And then we have even more than that. We have another 1 right here. And then right here, down here, we have a 2. Anyway, I didn't write that very well. But anyway, it's a 2. There's a 2 right there. Okay, write a little bit better. 2. It's right there. It's a little bit more of a, you see it. There's a 2 right there. Okay? And guess what? It's pointing to this right here, that the graffiti that's on the wall. And I'm going to go back to that, where it says Psalm 23. So we have 9/11 and 12. But the 12, which is the East Coast, 9/11 is the West Coast or Hawaii Standard Time, which is 9/11, and then 9/12 on the East Coast, like I've mentioned. So this is pointing to the actual graffiti on the wall. Now let's go to that. So what this shows here is several things. And so most people see it says Psalm 23, okay, but that's more obvious, of course. I mean, I saw that immediately, and most people do see Psalm 23. And there's a lot to Psalm 23. Read Psalm 23 and what it actually says. And it's pretty staggering that why they put that on here. But there's more. There's more examples of this on here, okay? So if you, but I'm going to show you what it means. I've shown this before, but if you take this L, you color it in, it's a clock hand. That's a clock hand right there. It's kind of backwards. This is backwards. The point should be the other way, but whatever. And then this right here is a 3. That's a 3. So it's a clock hand pointing a little bit after 3. And like I've shown in the scene, which transitioned from the oil spot into the shows the Statue of Liberty in the middle of water and everything. I'm not going to show it right now. It shows the Statue of Liberty pointing to a little bit after 3 on the East Coast, okay, because Statue of Liberty is East Coast. So this is showing 2 clock hands, and it's pointing to 3, and it's, notice the clock hands a little bit after 3. It's not straight across. Okay, then what's also showing here is this also says Donald across the top here, as J.K. pointed out, but I've seen how it says, it says Obama. So right here is the O, okay, and Obama signs his name with a line through the O. There's a line through the O. And this is B. And of course, we have the A right there. Obama, and then M right here. And then there's these numbers right here. And then right here on the bottom of the 3 is the A sideways. There's A, a line through it. Okay? This little spot right here where I put my cursor right there, that is attached to nothing. There's nothing in the imagery that's right there. But it's there to complete this 6 right here. This 6. And then we got the 2 and the 3. So it's 6, 2, 3. Okay, and then off the 3 here is lightning falling from heaven. And that is Barack Obama in Hebrew, is lightning falling from heaven. That's what Barack Obama's name means. Barack Obama means lightning falling from heaven. And Jesus quotes that in Luke 10:18. Okay? Jesus quotes that in Luke 10:18. I'm telling you, which is actually 8:11. 10:18. Anyway, so this is the birth of the Antichrist, which is 623. Which again, this month is the 6th month on the Hebrew calendar that Israel, the main calendar that the government of Israel is going off of, is the 6th month of Elul, and then our month is 9, so it's 923. And again, I mentioned in my last video that it's 923 because 11 is 1 plus 1 is 2, and 912, like I'm showing you, 911 and 912 is 1 plus 2 is 3. So this date of 911 and 912 is 923, and it's also 623. Okay, I've got more evidence, even more evidence that proves this. What do you? Sometimes I forget graffiti. Oh my gosh, sometimes I forget for graffiti. But let's go to this. The next evidence I have here. Now look at this. Okay, I've seen this several times and I couldn't quite understand. I thought it was something, but then I think I completely figured it out. So we're gonna have a moon that's not quite a full moon. It's like 90-some% on September 11th. Now look up here. See this light like the sun, and it's shining on this shape right here, which is almost a full moon shape. And if you turn this moon, September 11th moon sideways, it fits right there. So that is, this shape right here is almost a full moon shape right here, and that's about the same timing of this on September 11th moon. Okay, that is crazy too. So we're hitting the timeline as well, astrologically as well, with the moon. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so and let me show you something else. So when the video pans out, you see the Psalm 23, or it's really Obama 623 lightning falling from heaven a little after 3 a.m. Is what it really is. But when you pan out, it actually shows the date as well. So look over here as a reflection. Anytime you see a reflection, like I said, sometimes it's what they want you to see. Sometimes they alter it to make you make you see something else. But this is showing something here. So it's showing an actual date in that reflection. So let me show you this. This is crazy. So I'm going to turn it backwards so you can sort of see it here first, and then I'm going to show you the difference between the actual reflection. So right here you see the M right here. Okay, there's M. Okay, and then there's a 1, and this kind of makes a 6. See that? It's maybe hard to see generally, but it kind of makes a 6, and then we have a 9. Okay, we have a 9 right there. Now, that's a little bit hard to see, right? But look how it shows it in the reflection. I'm going to blow up the reflection, and it shows it. Now look at this 6 up here. See this? Okay, I'm just going to circle around it. That is very different than this one right here. See how this line comes down? It's very segmented right here. It doesn't flow through. This flows through perfectly. It flows through. It's nice and it's nice and curved. It flows much better than this. So they've changed it. And they did it for a reason, because it's saying this is a 6. And it's more obvious if you're looking for it. See, it's just for people who are looking. Okay, you have the M here again, and then you have this. This one's straight, like a 1. But this is kind of curved a little bit because it's away from the pane, the separation of the panes right here. Whatever you call that. Is that called a pane? I don't know. Pane is the separate window, but I don't know. Anyway, it's a 1. And then this is a 6. And then we have the 9, okay? And in one way it's this way, but it could also be a little 9 right here, or a big 9, this whole thing right here, okay? So we have M169, okay? So I'm going to write it over here, or write it down here. So if you have M, so M is 13, that's my babies over here, and then 1, and then 6, and then we have the 9. You little guy. He's getting a little upset here. Anyway, I'm going to keep going here. If he gets too loud, I'm going to have to pause it here. Okay, so basically, if you take this, so 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 6 is 11. And then we have 9. Of course, we have 9, 11. Okay, so that's what this is showing, both of these. Then also, another way of looking at this, because this is a backwards P and it ends up being a 9, you can also look at M16 being in different panes as separately as well, and I see that. So M16 is also, M is 13, of course, so you got the 1 of the 6, then you have the 6, and this is also, this is 14, 13 plus 1 is 14, and the 6 upside down, so you have 9, 14. We have 9, 11, and 9, 14 right there in one thing. It's right there. I mean, whether you understand that or it's right there. I just understand this stuff so much, and hopefully you see what I'm doing here. But it's another way of showing 9/11 and 9/14. And again, the original attack of the tsunamis is going to be 9/11, 9/12, depending on if you're talking about a little bit after 9 on Hawaii Standard Time in Hawaii, when the massive mega tsunami starts in Hawaii with the East Rift Zone falling into the ocean because it's hit by a nuclear torpedo, and it falls over the Helena Slump, which is one of the biggest drop-offs of any island chain in the Pacific or almost anywhere. It's going to follow the East Rift Zone is the southern section of the big island of Hawaii is going to fall down into the ocean with this massive displacement of land falling into the ocean to cause a massive tsunami. It's going to go across the Pacific and hit the west coast and destroy if not all of Hawaii at the same time, which is shown in many things actually. It's shown in I won't get into all of it. So anyway. And then 9/14 is when the actual nuclear attack is going to happen. And that is actually on the tarot card of the year of 2017 in the Economist magazine, the last card that ends up completing the 14. Anyway, so here we go. Then I want to mention here, recently when I was looking up a couple things, I noticed that it says that this guy here on Twitter said that Obama is scheduled to visit Denmark on September 28th. And then that was code right away. And it says Trump was scared of the likely contrast to his state visit on 9/23. Look, 9/23. So this is whatever actually happens in the news or media or whatever. It's all codes. You don't know if it's true or not, or if any part of it's true. But they show their codes all the time. So we have again 9/23. Okay, 9/23. And then check this out. So he's going to supposedly go to the Mark of Dan, which is the mark of the beast. Mark of Dan, the Denmark, on 9/28. So 28 is 10. Okay, but so then we have 9/1. And then that would be 2019. So we have 9/11 and 9/12 right here. Or it's a mirror of itself. So that could be 9, 2, I'm sorry, not that. Hold on one more second here. So 9/1/2/1/9 is what it's saying. So that's the middle is 2. So it's 9/12 and 9/12 backwards. It's sharing the 2. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's showing it as well. So that ends up being 28, ends up being 10, take the 0 out. So it's 9/1, and the rest of the year is 2019. Take the 0 out of that too. It's 9/1/2/1/9. And that's a mirror of backwards and forwards, like I showed you in my rent payment. Again, there it is right there. 9/12 and 9/12 backwards with the center point of 2 right there. I mean, it's crazy. And then it made me think of, immediately I thought of, oh yeah, that's right, Obama was in Norway with the spiral anomaly. And that, what date was that? I already know what date it was, but I'm going to ask you. Remember this, yeah, maybe you've never seen this, the spiral, so-called spiral anomaly, which was made by CERN, and I'll prove it. And they said it was Russian missile gone awry or something. Give me a break. It's a perfect spiral with an Einstein Rosen Bridge connecting it, and then eventually it turns into this. In fact, this is an actual picture. So this is a picture from more of a professional photographer who took this, and thousands of people saw this. It was on the news and everything. It's undisputable that it happened. Perfect spiral in the sky in Norway. And then basically this is a shot of what it opened up to, a wormhole, an Einstein Rosen Bridge wormhole. Okay, and this is an actual shot of a video that's about a minute long, and I'm going to also put that in a link in the description box so you can actually watch the actual video of it when it's in a spiral, and then it opens up into a wormhole like that, and it gets even bigger than that. Okay, and the news reports that were showing the spiral, this thing all over the place, and people were saying, yeah, we saw the spiral and it was crazy and everything, and what was that and everything, but they'd never show, none of the news reports show this, what it actually opened up into, and they didn't show anybody talking about that, even though that was the real news, that the spiral closed up and then opened up into that. So CERN, and that was in 2009, okay, and they've done several since then. I'm not going to show you all of them. They've opened up one off the coast of Australia, one off the other coast of Australia, one over Mexico, several things. You can look it up. You can see spirals and stuff in the sky, and you'll see one in Russia, which was insane. I should have included that picture. Amazing picture of that one in Russia over these apartment buildings and stuff. It was insane. It would look like something from a movie. It was really bizarre. But it was definitely CERN doing it. And let me prove it to you. So the Norwegian spiral was a spectacular aerial phenomenon seen in the night sky from parts of Norway and Sweden on 9th of December 2009. Okay, now this is key. This is crazy. Okay, and check it out. Science News: World record energy collisions achieved at Large Hadron Collider, or CERN, on December 9th, 2009. And guess what December 9th is? It's 12929, which is the 12th of December. That's the 12th. Oh my God, 12th of September, and then September 11th. So we have, that's really says 9/12 and then 9/11 is what it really says. Forwards and then backwards. So 12th of September forward, and backwards is 9, and then 2 becomes 1 and 1, 9/11. So there it is again. And guess what? Guess who was there at that time, that exact time? Obama was, to get his Peace Prize. So it was a false sign for the false Messiah. And they're going to use this in the future, that there was a sign when he was there, but they're not really talking about it much. And they haven't been, but they will once he's the false Messiah. And then check it out. Obama just spent 26 hours in Norway, pick up Nobel Prize. And there's the date, and that's when he was there. He was there through the 9th, part of the 9th, and the 10th of December. The exact time when this crazy spiral was in the air. Give me a break. Another ironclad evidence that Barack Obama is the Antichrist, because that's a massive false sign of who the Antichrist is, okay, of the false Messiah, basically. And then remember it's 26 hours, so that is upside down and backwards 9-2, which is 9/11. Right there, okay? And then check this out. So I've shared this before as well. This is the St. John the Divine's Cathedral in New York. Has been there for many years, and on these pillars are cultic symbols and everything. You have the spiral, okay? You have a birth of the child. This is the birth of the Antichrist, and then you see human hands manipulating the genome right here, the chromosomes and everything. You have human hands. That's cloning. This thing's coming out, and it's obviously a clone because it's not coming out of a woman. It's coming out of a something else, okay? And then there's a lamb right here, lamb's head right here. And then guess what? There are mummies here because some of the genetics came from mummies. And by the way, those are the most preserved genetics in mummies. And scientists to this day cannot duplicate what they figured out back in mummification in Egypt and things and other cultures. But look at the spiral for the birth. So this is celebrating his birth. And guess what? Again, it was December 9th, okay, what's going on with my pen? December 9th, 29, which is, again, 9/12 and 9/11. Okay, so they're pointing to this day on his birth, and he's a lamb. There's a lamb head. Yeah, he's supposed to be a false Jesus, right? Yeah, right. Okay, he is a false Jesus. Or he's supposed to be a Jesus. He's supposed to be a savior. He's supposed to be a lamb. That's talked about in the Bible and everything. There's a lamb right there. There's so much in this whole thing. This shows cloning. It's right here, hands manipulating the genome right here, the chromosomes and everything. Those are chromosomes right here, the X and Y chromosomes right there. It's crazy, okay? And then, because they took, he is a clone. He doesn't have a real social security number. It's been stolen from somebody else, a dead man. And then it's been proven that his birth certificate is false by 2 houses of certification, one in Europe and one in the United States. And you can search that and check that out. Joseph Arpaio made that available with his detectives, and they've proven it, but none of the media has covered it. Absolutely proven. Absolutely proven. Okay, he is a clone of Akhenaten, king of Pharaoh. And look how he looks like him. I mean, and I'm showing you all kinds of evidence. Let me show you another picture I put together. Look at that. That is Akhenaten. Okay, and he is a couple of different genes. He's a mixture. He has Akhenaten DNA, and I know this from research and pure amazing research from different sources. He is genetic. He is Nephilim DNA that came from Nimrod's body that was taken in Iraq, and he's also Akhenaten. His genetics from Akhenaten, and I think as actually a little bit of the British royal family thrown in there as well, because he's an offshoot of them as well. He's connected to them as well, and that's why in iPet Goat, his foot is standing on the royal crown, because they made him to only be above them, Okay, I'm telling you pure truth here, people. Believe it or not, you're gonna see it come into your face if you don't leave with the faithful church. You'll see it right in front of your face. It'll play out just like, pretty much, for the most part, like I'm saying, because the evidence is there, the predictive programming is all there, the things I've shown are all there, and I'm saying that this date is like almost for sure. Okay, I still may be wrong. It's a theory at this point, but I can't put holes in it. I'm trying to, and I'm just keep getting more confirmations from the Lord, and I keep finding more stuff to prove it. Okay, look at him. I mean, in a nutshell, this is the same guy. I mean, the genetics is mind-blowing. In fact, he was actually escorted into the tomb of this guy, and he said, "Oh, it looks like me." And he said it not surprisingly at all. He said it like he was supposed to say it. He's not a good actor. and I can read people's facial expressions and their mannerisms and everything. He basically said it like he already knew it, and he's just saying, "Oh, it looks like me." He didn't say, "Oh, that looks like me. Oh, that's weird." He said it like he already knew it. Anyway, and then on these columns as well, just to tie into this whole destructive day of 9/12, okay, we have water going over these skyscrapers. You know, this is so old that it even shows, but it shows the Twin Towers because then you know what it is. You know it's New York. I mean, there's no question that it's New York. But this was constructed way before the Twin Towers fell. And then that's one pillar. You see the water going over the, which is on the $100 bill when you fold it in a few times. Okay, and then another pillar shows more water and like cars and buses and stuff and bridges breaking and stuff from water, deluge of water right here. That's all predicted. Okay, it's all right there. This is all pre-planned in your movies and your TV shows and everything. In fact, before this video, look at my last video that was just 2 minutes, and it shows a predictably programmed tsunami from the TV show 911. Hello, 9/11, 911. And it's to premiere on 9/23. There's 9/23 again. I mean, watch that. It's just 2 minutes. It's striking. It's showing what's going to happen, and it wasn't that long before it's going to happen. And they're showing it ahead of time, and so heads up for you on California coast, and that actually shows it off the coast of, I think it was New Jersey. I think it might be Coney Island or something. Well, watch that video. It's 2 minutes long only, and it's right before this video on my channel. Okay, I want to share this as well. This is a godly thing, but the Lord led me to this, and someone was talking about the middle of the Bible. I was doing some research, and then I found this, and I was just completely led to it by the Lord. It was crazy. Okay, so some people said the central chapter of the King James Version is 117, Psalms 117. But this says, the fact can be argued depending on what Bible version you are using, but by most reckoning, the very center of the Bible when measured by chapter count is Psalm 118. Here are some of the other fun facts surrounding Psalm 118. Okay, so again, there's the code 118. Now this tells me, and I'm going to show you this other information, this tells me that this code of 118 was stolen from God, that God's giving clues in the Bible, and it was stolen by the enemy as his own. And there's 118 again. The longest chapter of the Bible falls just after the center chapter, which is the longest chapter, is the one right after the center, which is Psalm 119 or 911. The enemy does it backwards. So God's trying to point to maybe the end of the age, pointing to 119 or something, because it's the longest chapter. God's pointing to the center of the Bible. He is. Because the shortest chapter of the Bible falls after the center chapter, which is Psalm 117. 119, 118 is the center. I mean, are you kidding me? The shortest chapter is 117. And then this is absolutely nuts. There are exactly 594 chapters before Psalm 118 and exactly 594 chapters after it. When you add the number of chapters before Psalms 118 and those after, the sum is 1118. That is the code right there. 118 is one of the codes. The other one is 8111, which how the evil people get 911. 8 plus 1 is 9, and then you have the other 2 1, so which is 911. And then the verse at the very center of the Bible is Psalm 1188, which is still 911, because 8 plus 8 is 16, upside down and backwards, it's 911. So the enemy just took what God's trying to point to. God maybe was saying that is a hidden code for the end of the age or something. I'm not totally sure at this point, but the enemy has ripped off this. And by the way, 117 is 711 backwards, and that is, we're in September, which is Latin, and that is on the Roman calendar that used to be. And so September, sept means 7 in Latin, so we're in that month. So we're really in, it's 7/11, it's 8/11, I can't write here, and 9/11. This date is all three, because it's the 8th month is completed. As of August would be the 8th month is completed, and then 11 more days would be 8 months and 11 days. It would be 8/11. Okay, and so God had this all planned on his calendar. It's correct and true. Enemy changed times and all this kind of stuff. So we can't follow what's actually going on. But the end of time is 9/11, 9/12, or roughly right in there. Okay, it's a transition point. And it's probably somehow it's 9/14. But I'm just speculating at this point, because that will be when finally the first rapture happens. The innocents are taken, I'm guessing, on 11/12, depending on what time zone you're in. 2 days later is the nuclear, and then the faithful church, the bride of Christ, not the rest of Christianity that's not following Jesus at all and doesn't know him, because he says, you don't know me, so I've closed the door on you, with the foolish and wise virgins and other examples. Okay, so I want to also reference Mr. Cati, a separate confirmation from another party. Mr. Cati has videos he does about with numerology and numbers and stuff. He does a great job. He does it a different way, but he says a watch date is tomorrow, which I'm saying a watch date is tomorrow as well, because from 9/1 to 9/8 is 8 days. Okay, and I mentioned the apple rolling, and when it hits Obama's foot, it's the 8th day, and that is starting on 9/1. The 8th day is 9/8. Okay, so he's saying it's a watch date because he's saying it's showing up in all kinds of stuff. And he does it a little differently than me, but he's coming to the same conclusion. And then he also says, amazingly enough, 11 and 12 are to watch, because 11 plus 12 is 23. And he's really into 923 in a different way, several ways, because he keeps seeing the code all over the place in events and everything. I'm not going to show his whole video here because it'd be another 18 minutes on my video, but I will include a link in the description box of this video that he does, okay? And then he also says that some amazing stuff. He talks about the Great American Eclipse, but he accidentally does the wrong year, which is just a mistake he did. But it's 17. It's the 2017. But he talks about the Great American Eclipse, and the path of the eclipse, where it ends, is exactly where Hurricane Florence last year went this exact direction where it ended, and fulfilling all kinds of stuff. It's just crazy. But when Hurricane Florence last year, it was, and I've said this in previous videos, and when I thought it might be a different date, but I just mentioned the same fact, and this even more enforces it, that when Hurricane Florence, which means flowering, which is the flower that opens up an iPad goat when the apple splits open, which is the 14th, I believe, which is the nuclear, and that flower that opens up also represents nuclear explosions. It shows here that he's shown that Florence last year was in the water 9/11 and 9/12, and again that's 23, and then it was just touching land on 9/13 and 9/14. 13 plus 14 and 9/13 and 9/14. 13 plus 14 is 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. So with these two you have 9, and then 9/11, 9/12 you have 23. So that's 9/23, and that's basically what he says. So if you want more details on exactly what he says, which I highly recommend, but I didn't want to add another 18 minutes to this video, then please do that. Okay, I'm going to include it as a link in the description box, because he does a great job, and it's another party confirmation of what I'm saying. Another person that arrived at the same dates I have in a different way. But he has no idea, I don't think. He hasn't given me any clues. He has any idea what this all means. And I do. It's two births, the birth of the Antichrist and the birth of the man-child into heaven. It's so many things. Okay? And then the other thing I'm going to include here in just a second on the rest of this video, while my baby's making noises over here, is I'm going to include footage here in just a second, as soon as I stop talking, of stuff that North Korea has been doing for the last few months to really emphasize the predictive programming that North Korea is going to be blamed for 9/11/9/12. And the evidence there. I'm going to show some different clips just right after I talk here, connected to this video, and it's mind-blowing. So again, what I've said about 9/11 and 9/12 is that because it's basically centered around 9/11, is that people are going to be fooled, and they're going to be so angry that we got attacked, and then they're going to blame North Korea somehow, from all the predictive programming I see, that they're going to be the fall guy. Maybe even Russia is part of it too. And then we're going to go, and then Americans are going to go, let's get them, like we did on 9/11 the first time. And then we had a massive war that lasts all these years in the Middle East, and just crazy, unending war. And then, but this is going to be a very short war because it's going to kill a lot of people, unfortunately, nuclear and everything. So, the video is long enough. I'm going to go right to the footage here in North Korea, and then this video is done. So, but I'm going to ask you right now, for the love of God and for the love of the Lord Jesus, please, any of you, if this gets through to any of you, please share this with people. Please get to this to as many people as possible, even if you don't agree with most of it or any of it. Just put this in people's faces, and so they can at least see what might be coming. And it's interesting at the least, but the point is that they're going to see this and they're going to know what's coming, even if they don't agree with it. And when it comes, and exactly like I've said, or pretty much like I've said, because the Lord's guided this to me and unlocked several things, the Economist magazine, the Georgia Guidestones, iPad Go 2, I mean, several things, and the media and everything. And when this happens, similarly to what I said, and the people knew that Jesus gave this to me, because they're like, oh yeah, whatever, Jesus, then they're going to go, when all this stuff starts happening, they're going to be like lost. And they're going to some people are going to remember this. A lot of people are going to remember this. And they go, yeah, Jesus told them, and they're going to reach out to Jesus. And this is the main reason for any of my videos. I don't make any money. I don't do. It's actually it's kind of a pain in the butt at times, a lot of times. But I do it for you. I do it for the Lord Jesus, because I follow Him and He is my master, 100%. And I do this for you. And I do this for anyone who will listen to what's coming and be warned, because at some point your only hope is going to be Jesus. All of you. Your only hope is Jesus out of this place, out of the destruction that the enemy has planned and his evil minions. So when people come to the end of themselves and all this stuff's going on, they're going to remember, if they watch this and they've seen this, that Jesus brought this ahead of time to them and warned them, and they're going to come to Jesus. I'm telling you. So I'm begging you to share this with as many people as possible while we still have a few more days. If it doesn't happen, at least they learned something. And maybe they saw the control that goes on in the background. Maybe they learned some stuff about what the enemy's actually doing, and break them out of their false reality. Okay? So minimum, they're going to get something out of this. Even if they completely reject it, it's going to be a seed that's sown into their heart to be harvested later. So I just beg you, please, and just ask God to bless all of you. And this is it. I'm going to go right to the footage now.
Fox News alert. Overnight, South Korean military reporting what we've already picked up. North Korea has launched 2 suspected short-range missiles. It's the second such launch over the last week.
Now, North Korea is threatening further weapons tests after firing 2 unidentified projectiles. It is the 4th such test in 2 weeks. The tests are in retaliation for the combined US-South Korea annual military exercises, which are currently underway. South Korea's military puts the site of the latest launch as South Hwanghae province, so the projectiles had to fly across the peninsula before landing in the East Sea, also known as the Sea of Japan. The increasing tensions on the peninsula threaten to derail negotiations between Pyongyang and Washington.
New evidence tonight that North Korea's ambitious young supreme commander may soon have another submarine to command and a new way to threaten the U.S. New satellite photos just published by the website Beyond Parallel show what appears to be new activity at the Sinpo South shipyard in North Korea, where Kim Jong-un's regime builds many of its submarines. 2 support submarines, a larger sub and a so-called midget sub, are parked there, along with another support vessel. There's a crane, a vehicle in one photo, and people at the dock. Analysts believe it all could be to support this, an enormous nuclear-capable submarine being built or renovated, which Kim was photographed inspecting last month at a nearby location. Experts say the shipyard activity could mean the North Koreans are preparing for a crucial test.
The purpose of this vessel may be to take the test barge out into open waters and test a submarine-launched ballistic missile.
CNN talked to a top Pentagon official about the new pictures.
We see very intentional modernization on the part of the DPRK.
What concerns you about the development of that submarine?
Well, you know, if you extrapolate far enough, they're looking for a capability that makes them a more potent adversary.
Another senior U.S. official has told CNN the U.S. has been tracking the development of this sub for a year and a half. Kim successfully test-fired a ballistic missile from a smaller submarine in 2016, a vessel which experts say could hold 1 nuclear-tipped missile. This larger one, they say, could hold 3 or more. These subs give Kim the ability to launch nuclear missiles that would be harder to detect in advance. And analysts fear he's trying to develop a longer-range submarine.
They could potentially, within the next decade, develop submarines capable of transiting the Pacific Ocean within range sufficient to launch missile strikes against the United States.
The U.S. seizing that North Korean ship, and it comes not long after North Korea launched those short-range ballistic missiles. It's the second weapons test in just a matter of days. The U.S. taking action for the first time in seizing a ship belonging to North Korea. And as you know, the president has stood on the world stage with Kim Jong-un twice now, holding those summits. So tonight, where does this turn next? ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz leading us off.
Tonight, this massive North Korean cargo ship now under American control. The first time the U.S. has ever seized a North Korean cargo vessel for violating U.S. sanctions. Found off the coast of Indonesia, one of a fleet of so-called ghost ships, which prosecutors say was illegally and secretly transporting huge shipments of coal, forbidden under the strict sanctions imposed to force the North to give up its nuclear weapons.
For the Kim Jong-un regime, appearances matter, and so do new commercial satellite images that raise new concerns this week about whether North Korea is restoring missile facilities or readying to launch a rocket.
I don't really want to get into speculation about what they're doing.
But experts are trying to assess the risks.
We don't know what this means. It could be for a launch. It could be just for activities. The point is, it is signaling something.